Now, for the rest of the team, there are lapses in that game where they shut it off. They shut it off mentally. In Jamaica, you were fortunate to get out of there with a 1-0 win, right? It could have gone a lot worse. They could have gone really bad for them. They missed a PK in Jamaica. They had a couple of chances that they could have put away. There was a penalty kick call that wasn't given in the Tim Bream, handball. You come here to the United States, it could be different without a ton of very good players, and you should steamroll. You do, and you're taking your foot off the brake. Better teams, those top teams Kasey was talking about, are going to make you pay for that.
How spoiled are these guys, huh? What are Mexico fans saying listening to this? Like, what?
Well, we're not talking about Mexico right now.
I mean, yeah, and I understand. It is a different.
I do think, though, there is a portion of the fan base, and I appreciate it's why you guys are here, because you played for the national team. You are professionals. You bring that perspective. I do think there's probably a portion of fans who are listening to this and saying, damn, I watched that game. I felt really good about this U.S. team. When we spent the first 15 minutes talking about what happened once they were up 4-1 on aggregate, and saying that that's like a mentality problem with this team.
It's perspective. I completely understand what Kasey said, what Herc echoed. My point is, and I'm sure Mauricio Pochettino will go through the film and he will be disgusted conceding 2 goals.
Yeah, privately, like Kasey said, that's going to be his next task.
He's going to hate it. Yes. Now, managing a national team is pointing to the mistakes, but also celebrating the victories. And this was a good victory for the team. Now, remember what was said on this very same show about the leadership skills of one Christian Pulisic after it was decided that he was not going to travel to Guadalajara and play against Mexico. Well, it was blown way out of proportion.
Although Pochettino actually caught a lot of the heat for that.
He did.
Maybe even more than Pulisic.
Because he allowed that, right? Or maybe he even encouraged that.
I think he
encouraged that. I agree.
I don't put much of that on Pulisic.
But then we said
he's got some. You don't think he had? You don't
when
think
the coach tells you to go home, what are you going to say?
I mean, I have my doubts.
You think the coach
I have my doubts with Christian Pulisic. You think he doesn't have a say?
Yeah.
Listen, I
think if Christian Pulisic wanted to be in Mexico, he'd have been there.
Agreed.
Well, that's your opinion. All we know is that Pochettino sent him home. You're speculating on what you think Christian Pulisic may or may not have thought of. That's the reality.
I'm speculating that he had some say in the decision. Yeah, I feel pretty confident speculating that.
Yes.
You don't think he had any say?
I don't know.
Well, what's your speculation?
My speculation is Pochettino said, hey,
get out of here. I don't want you in this camp. Go. I don't care what your opinion is. You think he said that to Christian Pulisic?
Is that what I just said?
Yeah,
you think he said, I don't care about this camp to Christian Pulisic? Or do you think he said, hey, go back to Milan? Maybe you're not 100% right now. We don't need you for this one. This one's going to be one of those games. Don't worry about it.
Is he going to talk like that to the captain right away first game?
What captain? Tim Ream's the captain.
I don't think so, right?
Hey, Kasey, we've had this discussion around Christian Pulisic for a long time. In fact, I think when Herc and I came into the company, like late 2016, early 2017, it was pretty early on. I was like, Christian Pulisic's already the best American player. Herc then would roll his eyes, and he was probably right, because Christian Pulisic was still a teenager at the time.
Yeah.
Hey, Kasey, you've been around this program longer than anybody else. Have you ever seen an American player play better than Christian Pulisic is playing right now?
I saw it from the very first time I was in camp and saw Christian when he was first coming in, and there was no question that he had the ability to be something extra special. And he showed that at Dortmund, got the move to Chelsea, and for whatever circumstances, things, injuries, managerial changes, whatever it was. But he clearly is now, taking things to another level. And it's great to see, because the talent's there. There's absolutely no question about that. And he is a complete game changer. And you need those guys in your side if you want to be able to beat the best teams in the world. And sometimes when you're playing against teams on tricky pitches and who are kicking lumps out of you, and you need that guy that has that moment that changes the game. And there's no question that Christian can do that, and he's clearly consistently doing it right now. And obviously, the better he's playing for the club, the better it helps the national team. And I know now you're hearing all kinds of rumors about him going back to England, to big clubs, and maybe even to Spain.
Please don't.
And take those plaudits, right? Because he's proving it week in and week out at AC Milan. And I think we all felt that he was more than capable of doing that, and it's great to see.
I think we got to talk Ricardo Pepi in the 9 position at some point, but I want to leave a little space here to talk about other individual performances because I think there were some important ones. Tim Weah, obviously, for everything that this game meant to him, was super good. I think in midfield, a guy who, one, played well, but also is kind of a position of desperate need with injuries. Tyler Adams isn't, available. Johnny Cardozo goes down. For Tanner Tessman to do what he did, I thought was very, very important. For me, those 2 guys really took advantage of tonight. Anybody else for you?
Anthony Robinson. Anthony Robinson just continues to just impress me and amaze me because when he came onto this program, you're like, oh, strong kid, fast.
Limitations.
Very basic, a lot of limitations there. And throughout it all, kept just growing and kept proving how good he could be. And then you see the performances with Fulham, and you're like, well, he's very good at what he does for the U.S. men's national team. He's very impactful in the way he goes about it, and he's actually a very important piece for the U.S. men's national team. And then he adds another layer to it. He's stepping into the midfield. He's covering different
positions. Is that a Pochettino?
That's absolutely a Pochettino tweak right there. And when I first saw it, I'm like, why is Timothy Weah playing on the left-hand side? Why is Anthony Robinson in the center? Well, he's in the center because it allows Timothy Weah to stretch. And when Timothy Weah stretches, you saw it in the play that Timothy Weah hit the post. He gives that give and go with Timothy Weah, and he's got his back to goal. And then he comes in and he's in a central position for anything that needs to be cleaned up, and he's good in possession. And he offers you, a different layer in that attack, but the security also at the defensive position that he needs to be in. So I'm continued to just be impressed by Anthony Robinson, what he continues to offer. And it's maybe Fulham today. And you've had this discussion with producer Beto many a times that he's going to go to a big club. But there is no doubt in my mind. We're talking Christian Pulisic, big club. I think the next move is Anthony Robinson. I think that's the transfer right there.
Yeah, especially at a position that seems to be like such a high-value position. You get a left back who can offer you service as well. He's doing it in the Premier League at a pretty good clip. Anybody stand out for you? Anybody we haven't mentioned yet?
I mean, I love Weston McKennie because he impacted also from his position, 2 assists, the dynamic that he brings to the team. We know he's a box-to-box player, and he's been playing well in Italy again. I just wanted to see him again in this Mauricio Pochettino system. And I feel like a player with his abilities, with his set of skills, brings a lot to the table because then he can free moves, like he can free Weah, he can join Pulisic and create like he did. So Weston McKennie, if he stays healthy, is going to be very, very important for this team.
If I could piggyback on what you said about Tanner Tessman, he's competing with guys like Johnny Cardozo. Johnny Cardozo's played a good amount with the U.S. men's national team. I don't remember ever seeing a game where he had a direct impact like Tanner Tessman today. And that's unfortunate for Johnny Cardozo, but shows you how quickly Tanner Tessman's kind of been on the ball and getting it going in games like this. We saw brief instances in a very complicated game in midfield in Jamaica, but tonight that was probably his coming out party.
But you think is Cardozo's the starter, right? If healthy?
No.
Who's starting that number 6 position?
If healthy, everybody healthy?
No, I mean not considering Tyler Adams.
No, I think it's again by committee, and you work something there. You see who's healthy.
And we saw Weston can be used as kind of a half double pivot.
Yes.
Is that a good
Double
way
pivot.
to describe it there? Because he also goes forward and gives you a little bit more there. All right, let's get to Ricardo Pepi, Kasey. Pepi's got to be the starter going forward now, right?
You would think so, but still, I mean, I think we're looking at situations where we're not judging on top 25 teams. We're judging in games where we still expect guys to be more dominant against CONCACAF opposition, and we're still seeing that. I mean, yes, Pepi's taking his chances. What did we say? He got 2 opportunities to start. He got a couple goals. Perfect. You can't ask for any more. He's linked up well. He's pressed at times well. But again, I'm still looking at this as one step in a series of steps. And the most difficult thing we're going to have is being able to judge against the opposition that we don't get to play against. And I'm not going to be negative against that. It's just what it is. And kind of what you guys were talking about, the midfield and the movement and the way guys played, and all that was great. And I understand what Pochettino's trying to do, but one of the most difficult things to do when you have players coming inside and this player overlapping and that player coming from, Pulisic started so much of this match out wide left, and then came into an inside position because then he knew that somebody was going to overlap. But what is the next step? The next step is to have all that movement, but then be solid defensively when the ball breaks down. And we didn't see that. And so that is the next big step. Yes, it's great when you have full autonomy to go forward, overlap, exchange positions, go in there, but then you concede 2 goals at home against an average Jamaica. So yes, there is that next step. I really liked what I saw going forward, but then how can you be solid defensively when you have people all over in different positions?
When it comes, Herc, to picking the number 9, in the past, you've talked about like the hot hand, going with the hot hand. There's a chance Ricardo Pepi goes back to PSV here and doesn't start a lot.
Doesn't play at all.
Maybe doesn't score a lot of goals.
Yeah.
Do you think he's in a solid enough position now to overcome that? Or do you think when we come back to March, April, because obviously there's January camp, but that it'll still be whoever the hot hand is at that point? Because to me, right now, Ricardo Pepi is not only in the driver's seat, he's the only guy in the car. I mean, everybody else is either hurt or Brendan Vasquez, who's not on that level. Right now. And chances are in January. Hey, but also by January or February or March, whoever's doing it, wherever they're doing it, it won't be with the national team. It'll be with club. And Pepi's now done it with the national team in back-to-back starts.
So right now in January, you're most likely to get MLS players.
Right,
It's gonna be January camp, MLS
That's an
camp.
asterisk.
You're going to have no U.S. men's national regulars on that team. You would assume so. And I know the numbers are very impressive. They really are. I mean, the kid's 21 years.
I mean, what hasn't he done for you to give him that spot?
Oh, hold on. You know my saying. The only thing you have as a 9 to defend yourself are the numbers. He's got the numbers. I don't mind Ricardo Pepi getting a run at the 9. He was your de facto 9 for Greg Berhalter, and then lost it after a hot start. And now here he is, hot start with Mauricio Pochettino, and I can't sit here and guarantee you he's going to be the 9 at the end of this.
What would be
and
best
I know
for the
you
team?
can't either.
What would be best for the team? Because you talked about consistency.
Whoever's scoring the goals is best for the team. Here's the problem.
Not to pick a guy and go and figure out how to play with that one guy and have consistency there?
Let me tell you what the problem is, okay? He's the only guy in the car right now, you said, right? So what does Mauricio Pochettino want to see? The rest of the drivers. That's the problem. I'm going to want to see Fowler Balogun. I'm going to want to see Haji Wright. I'm going to want to see Josh Sargent. That's Mauricio Pochettino's right now mindset.
So are we going to get to the World Cup with still this question of who's the number 9?
I hope
he's got to test and test.
I hope not, because if you look at the history of the U.S. men's national team, there are a few positions that you've always lacked. Left back, I don't know, a competent winger sometimes, whatever the case.
10.
But the 9 position was always something that you were like, we've got one. Mm-hmm. We've got one. We've got somebody of
a big
trust.
guy that can head the ball. You got a Brian McBride.
No. Brian McBride.
Got a Connor Kasey.
Hold on. Josie Altidore. Then Clint Dempsey played as a 9. You're like, we've got confidence here. But it's really been a lot of different players going through that spot. Nobody taking a hold of that. So I can't sit here with a good face and just say that's Ricardo Pepi's. He's going to be there at the end. I've seen this movie before. Hopefully for Ricardo Pepi, he's scoring these goals because that's the only thing that's going to keep him there.
A manager like Pochettino, with his first national team managerial experience, he's going to go with whoever is scoring at a club level. I know Pepi scores at the national team level, but now it's going to be 4 months.
In between, yeah.
In between. What's going to happen in between those 4 months? What's going to happen with Fowler Balogun once he's healthy and back playing and scores?
Haji
then
Wright.
You have to go with him. Same thing with Sargent and Haji Wright. So even though the numbers back Pepi's case, someone like Mauricio Pochettino, especially in that number 9 position, you have to go with whoever is scoring because this stretch of games for Pepi has been fantastic, but it's just that. It's just a few games that he's been really good. He has to be consistent also at a club level to feel that he is the starter at the number 9 position.